tightening on my belly, which is kind of weird. So I don't know if I'm allergic to stuff I'm eating or...
Mm-hmm. Okay, good question. Bill, did they find inflammation in your stomach or the colon?
Stomach, just
Okay.
stomach and above.
So you have basically kind of gastritis, they probably called it, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it's called.
All right, so yeah, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, but let's just talk about that. To get that inflammation there, probably was there chronically, and now it's just kind of showing up more intense. But typically what we want to do is dump more acid in your stomach to make it more acid to handle the digestion so the acid reflux goes away. But if there's inflammation in there, we have to kind of undercut that and heal that first. And I'm going to recommend chlorophyll. I would definitely do my wheatgrass juice powder and start doing that. That's a lot of chlorophyll. It's a good internal skin cleaner or healer. The other thing is you're probably going to do better with maybe some, not apple cider vinegar, but maybe probiotics to start working on the lower intestines. You're probably going to be doing better with fermented foods, but not the juice, just the fermented foods. A lot of leafy greens, maybe even, this isn't the case where you want to probably juice some greens without the carrots or the apple, because we want to actually put that nutrient-dense solution in your body. There's one more thing that I would get, and you can look this up online. It's Amazon.com. I think you could find some. It's called Chlorophyll Pearls by Standard Process. And these chlorophyll pearls are tiny little pearls of tillandsia root. It's like the oil from tillandsia root, that moss on the tree in the south. You would suck on these little things, they dissolve, and right before it dissolves, you swallow it, and it'll just kind of poof and kind of align all your esophagus and your stomach. So basically you're in the process of healing that ulcer. Vitamin C foods, chlorophyll is the big thing, wheatgrass juice. Those are the things that you're going to have to do right now for a period of time, and that could take a while to heal that to the point where then we can actually acidify you and start to fix the pH problem. But you may do okay with maybe some bile salts, but I think intermittent fasting is going to be really, really key with you, and just very light foods, and find out maybe there are some allergies. Okay, Bill? Good question. Hey, Douglas, you're from Fort Lauderdale. You had a question.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, totally fine.
Great. About 3.5 weeks ago, I came across your video for the first time. I had a little problem with a little pain in my leg, and your video solved the problem with a little stretch. Then I came across your weight loss stuff, which is extensive, and I said, I'm just going to try this. This guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and I did. And I've now lost close to 14 pounds since I started.
That's pretty good. That's
I feel
awesome.
absolutely energized, and my brain is clear. I feel great, but I kind of stalled, and I'm eating, bacon and eggs and cheeses, and we made your pizza, we made your bread. Is the pizza and the bread legal things to eat during the intensive phase that I'm in right now?
That's a really good question. Was that the main question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've kind of stalled from the 1 pound a day routine to no pounds a day, and I'm just wondering if I'm doing something wrong.
How many meals a day are you doing?
2.
Okay. All right, let's talk about that. Yeah, that's a really, really, really good question. I think a lot of the keto bombs and those recipes are really good in the beginning. As you get into it, you're probably not going to need as much of it. The pizza thing I think it's totally fine. But when you get into the bread, there is a little bit of arrowroot flour that could slow you down a little bit. So I would probably do those things maybe once or twice a week, and not like very frequent, and I think you're going to lose more weight. Stick with the basic foods right now. And of course, since you brought that up, like healthy junk foods. Last week I talked about the disaster with the ice cream. Well, this week, finally got it in right here. Got Kebi's. Finally had the ice cream. It got done, and we have someone I want to actually test it out on to see if it actually is any good. But this is a line of ice cream that is meant to be used in occasionally with your meal. It's not meant to be used as a snack or, like all day long or eating the whole thing. Steve?
Well, I'll try.
So that's why I got Steve. Steve's going to sample it. Steve is my production guy, and we're going to give him a big bowl right here because I know Steve. But
keep that away from me because I'm a freak for chocolate.
Yeah, so this stuff here, let's just see what you think. It's basically coconut oil. There's no sugar. I know this is a lot, Steve, but I'm just trying to put you on
a teaser. If I like it, I'm going to be mad.
Right.
That tastes like chocolate ice cream. That is really good.
It's good, isn't it?
I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
And what's good about it?
This has no cream. It's lactose free. It has less than 1 gram of sugar. It's coconut oil. So, the thing that people are going to be surprised, like it tastes just like regular ice cream.
It doesn't have any aftertaste.
Right. It doesn't have that sugar aftertaste. It's pretty darn good, but I'm excited because I just got it in. I have to withhold myself because you don't want to do a lot. And I'll give you a little bit more later, but I just wanted to see if you liked it. And so apparently it's edible.
It's really good. I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you could do me a favor, take this stuff and put it in the freezer.
Sure.
Because that's all you're getting tonight. That's all you're getting. No, just kidding.
Okay, I'm going to walk across the camera. That's
yeah.
rude. Here we go.
So I just wanted to mention, I'll do a video on, I have a whole little video on the ice cream, but a lot of people are going to ask, when can I get some? It's going to be next week. I have to, it's being shipped right now. It takes a while to be shipped to the fulfillment center. But again, the two things are, it's meant to have occasionally with the meal, but not as a snack, but not the whole pint, Steve, because you don't want to do that. It's made with sugar alcohol, so you could overdo it on that. All right, so Nikki, you're on the air from Arkansas. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Thank you for being available to us and helping us. Two quick questions. If at the end of the day I go to fix our meal and I'm tired and I have a little piece of cheese or a little protein and I just don't feel like whipping up a salad, is it okay? Is it just to have your kale shake powder as our salad substitute?
That's a really good question. I think that the kale shake powder has some kale in it. It's mainly as a meal replacement. There's some protein in there. If you have the meal replacement one with the coconut oil, that's even more fat. The other one is more, it's pea protein. I wouldn't count on that for a vegetable. Instead, what I would recommend is, eat a bell pepper, eat a cucumber with hummus, have something like that. Or even my wife, what she'll do is she'll take lettuce leaves and she'll put like some chives and different herbs with cream cheese. You can buy that cream cheese and put it on a lettuce and just eats that, So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, and also I get plaque on the back of my teeth real bad. I have to have it cleaned off from the dentist. Is that calcium? Does that mean I have too much calcium in my system?
That's a really good question. That means that you have not enough vitamin K2. Watch my video on K2. Vitamin K2 removes soft tissue calcium from the teeth, from the joints, from the arteries. So it actually moves that out of the tissue. If you have that on a regular basis, you should notice that the inside of your mouth, your teeth are all nice and smooth, like a pearl, after you take enough K2 over a period of time. So it just means you're low in K2. That's what it is, basically. Yeah, good question. Good questions. Hey, David, you're from Texas. Go ahead. You had a question.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Berg. I had actually a couple questions, but the first one was on substituting food for supplements, like your supplements or nutrients. I've just discovered intermittent fasting and extended fasting, and I really like it, and first time that I've really been able to lose weight. But going beyond that, with all your products that you sell and knowing, exactly what the body needs to function, food is, that source, but we've broken it down into nutrients and all the ones that you have. Is there something like a program that might be able to be put together where if you didn't feel like eating, you could just take this and it would give your body everything that it needed?
Good question. I think I think I was looking at that. Like, what could you do as a concentrated food to have all the nutrients? It would have to be because really, in my books, I talk about the purpose of food is to nourish the body. There's one more purpose, and that is to give you fuel. So we would have to give you certain amino acids and fatty acids in addition to the vitamins and minerals and trace minerals. So here's some ideas. What you could do is to kind of bolster or enhance your eating. The wheatgrass juice powder is just awesome. That will actually give you a lot of nutrition and chlorophyll and phytonutrients, all that. And then you have the trace minerals. But I think that, I know what you're saying. You're like, well, I'm not hungry. Maybe can I just have like some supplements and things? I think the best thing to do is to go to drberg.com/evaluation, take that quiz. It goes through every single symptom you have. You'll figure out where your weaknesses are, and then it'll kind of tell you the missing pieces so you can kind of more focus on that. But we want you to have real food, at least 1 meal a day. But I think you had another question about sweets too, right?
Now, it wasn't about sweets. I actually just bought some of your products. I bought the wheatgrass juice with the lemon. I bought your adrenals. I bought your hair loss and your electrolytes. It's kind of a two-part, but with those products that I bought and going by, what the body needs in nutrition, and not nutrition, but the nutrients, I got a little confused because I watched one of your videos on your dropper with the nutrients that are in there, and I was trying to find out if those products that I bought are enough to give me that 74 nutrients that the body's needing, or
trace minerals.
Do I have to extend do I need to extend on that? And the second part of that was the hair product. I've got pattern balding, and I'm assuming it works since you're putting it out. And how long does it normally take, and is there anything that you need to do with that?
Okay, good question. So it's funny, this hair product, normally it should take like at least 6 weeks to start to see some change, but I'm seeing people are just reporting like within the first few days they're seeing change. So I don't know how they're doing that, but it's working for some people. Depends how bad it is. It does depend if it's very chronic in there, but the hair formula works on, it gives you the nutrients, the biotin, the silicon, the collagen, and then also it handles the DHT, which is another hormonal thing. As far as the trace minerals go, there are trace minerals in that product. There's trace minerals in the sea kelp. There's trace minerals in the wheatgrass. There's a lot of different overlap in a lot of different products, but the confusion is like, I think what you need is to maybe talk to someone in my office to kind of narrow down specifically what your goals are. The liquid trace minerals are, that's probably the most concentrated trace minerals. I like that product because it's easy to take, and plus it has 94 trace minerals in the plant base. So that way you're getting the maximum amount, especially if you do have hair, nail, skin issues or collagen issues. It won't necessarily give you energy, but it handles the protein stuff. So, so I think other than that, I think I would have you just call the office to get specific on your specific goals, because it's hard to answer that not knowing your history. Hey, then we have someone from Australia. It's I think it's called Myrnie.
Marnie, yes.
Marnie.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Thanks for your awesome videos and taking my call today. I'm 47 years old and a combination of two body types, adrenal because I have lupus and have been on prednisone and Plaquenil for years, and an ovarian body type as I have insulin resistance and estrogen dominance. Earlier this year I was at my heaviest weight, and for the first time in my life I had extremely heavy periods to the point I had low iron. Through scanning, I found out I had a fibrocystic breasts and benign cyst on my thyroid and a 2.5 centimetre cyst on my left ovary. I knew sugar and carbs were the main culprit, so I went on a diet a bit opposite in nature to keto, where I had moderate protein, restricted vegetables and no dairy and no fat. I did lose 20 pounds in the month, which I've maintained, but I felt nutrient deprived and weak, and I knew I had to find a better way, which led me to you. However, during this time, I did feel my ovary was improving as I went from heavy periods to no periods to a normal period again. And now 6 weeks into keto and intermittent fasting and feeling great, I had another heavy period. It wasn't as heavy as the ones in the past, but it was long, and I felt like both my ovaries were going to explode. The pain in my back, which was in the center of my lower back, about 1 inch from the tailbone, was incredibly painful. And this went on for about 3 days, followed by a dull ache in either the gallbladder or liver on the right side of my body. I was taking sea kelp and most of your formulas, but was waiting for your ovarian formula and massage tool to arrive in the mail. And I felt the trigger for this pain and change was going back on dairy products. I have since changed all my vegetables and dairy products to organic, non-GMO, but I think maybe because of my lupus, I shouldn't be on dairy of any kind at all. And I'm also thinking I really need bioidentical progesterone cream to help balance things out, because I'm not balancing out naturally. And with the long use of steroids, I may need some extra help for a while. And I just wanted to ask your opinion on this, Dr. Berg, and what to do to appease my angry ovaries.
Right. Okay, good. Couple things you can do. On the membership site, there's some advanced ovarian techniques that I don't have on my videos because they're a little bit more involved, but those are released after a month of being on the membership site. So that's one technique that's very dramatic. You can see changes really quick. It's kind of like, it's like acupressure for the endocrine system. You can really get those ovaries in communication again and with the rest of the glands, because the ovaries are controlled by the pituitary gland, so they have this whole feedback cycle. Nutritionally, I think you're spot on with this dairy, with the lupus, and if there's adrenal weaknesses, you're going to have more sensitivity to dairy than the people that have either an allergy to casein or maybe even lactose. They have a lot of issues with dairy. Sometimes they can do okay on a little bit of grass-fed organic cheese from Switzerland or another country that's like a lot cleaner. So that's something that you can look at, but not in large quantities, just probably because there could be an allergy there. But I think you're going to have to focus on the phase of recovering the damage from the prednisone or the steroids, because those are you're going into menopause, those are the backup organs, and we want to keep those really strong. As far as the estrogen support formula, I think estrogen balance with DIM, that's going to really help you a lot. But I think if you take something called glutathione for your body, that will actually slow down the deterioration of the effects from the prednisone. I would recommend colostrum, but I think that's going to be a problem because it's dairy. So I think maybe we take you off dairy for a period of time. You're already doing good on these other things. Apply the acupressure to the ovaries. That's going to help you. And then once you get the estrogen balance, that'll be the icing on the cake. It's not a bad idea to do that progesterone because that'll automatically, indirectly take the pressure off the estrogen dominance. It's not a bad idea. You're already taking sea kelp, which is awesome, so that's iodine. But then we have the DIM, which is in the estrogen balance plus DIM, and that's the cruciferous concentrate. So that'll just take you to the next level. All right, good question. Shanique from Stafford.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
I have a question about meat. Should we weigh it cooked or weigh it raw?
Good question. You should weigh it, if you wanted to weigh it, it's actually raw, because when you cook it, you're going to lose some of the fat, but you're not going to lose the protein. So
okay.
I would go with the full raw weight of whatever that meat is. But we're talking about like 3 to 6 ounces, yeah.
Okay, and one more question. I've heard you say that after we're keto adapted, we're supposed to drop fat. How do we know how far to drop our fat macros? You
know, you're going to naturally feel like you don't want as much fat. Like you're like, okay, I had enough. When you do this over a period of time, and sometimes for people it might be 3 months, 4 months, but consistency, then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm not even hungry. If I eat a little bit too much fat, I'm like, that's too much. So go with your senses, with your sensation of like, do I need more? Do I want more? In the beginning, like I need more fat. Now I'm like, I can take it or leave it because you're actually burning your own fat. And I'm not opposed to you eating more fat, but the point is if you're not hungry for it, you know, let the meal be your own fat. So I would go more subjective. And the way that you know that you're adapted is you have a lot of other issues. The cravings are gone, the hunger's like barely there, you're feeling good, and you have all these other indicators totally squeaky clean. So that's what I would do. Hey, Joe, you're from California. Go ahead.
Hi, doctor. I'm
Hi.
66 years old, and I was weighing, in March, I was weighing like about 165 pounds. I'm 5 feet 7 inches, like a small guy. And I got diagnosed about 4 or 5 years ago, pre-diabetic, but, you know, I ignored it. I just, was under denial. And I ignored it. But now, about in March, my blood sugar was like anywhere from 190 to 216 fasting, and my A1C was number 8.
Okay.
And I started watching videos. I got really serious. I am a sugarholic. I was sugarholic. I quit eating sugar at all, like cold turkey, and I was eating a lot of carbs, and I brought down the carbs like about 50 to 70, 80. And now, matter of 4 months, I'm eating a lot of butter, a lot of bacon, a lot of a hamburger without buns. And I went down to 91, my from 216 to 91. Then my lowest, another one was like 101. Today, let's say 120. And I'm now to pre-diabetic level. And I am eating a lot of fat, like your video. I have watched most of your videos, if not all.
Wow.
And what else I can do to bring it down to like a normal level? I hike every day, 4 miles, 2 miles up, 2 miles down at about 8% grade.
Did you check your A1C yet?
No,
Okay.
no, because I'm waiting, probably September.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about that. Joe, I think you're doing great. I think, I recently did that little, what's the beef on my beef on What the Health, right? That documentary. And I got some interesting comments from certain individuals that are really, basically say, hey, no, you can eat sugar. Sugar's fine. It's the fat that's going to kill you and cause diabetes. You're a perfect example of that is totally not true. And of course, no one ever talks about people of results, success stories, because that's anecdotal, but we're going to keep doing them over and over again. So, and I'm going to keep promoting them and doing Skypes. But anyway, this is what you can do. There's really only 2 things that you should do. There's certain things you should avoid, and there's certain things that you should do. What you need to avoid is anything that triggers insulin. So you're already doing that. That's awesome. But now what to do is add apple cider vinegar, maybe the electrolyte powder with the potassium, chromium, vitamin D. All those things will help naturally bring down your blood sugars even more. Make sure your salads are 7 to 10 cups. And I think you're going to do fine. You just need to give it more time, Joe. So you're doing great. Congratulations. So I'm going to just write something on the board. I want to just go to the board for quick, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm back. So I always like to kind of mix in a little bit of education. And today we're going to talk about TIA. And transient ischemic attack. That's like a pre-stroke, okay, symptom. So these are like precursors to strokes. And so what happens, there's various symptoms that you might experience if you have a TIA. You might have, it might be no symptoms, or it might be contralateral numbness or loss of coordination. So if you had a stroke on the left side of the brain, the right side of your body will start having the symptoms because everything crosses over. So you can have confusion, your speech is slurred, you have just loss of coordination, all these different symptoms, okay? But the definition of a TIA, it's a vascular problem. There's low oxygen, okay, to the part of the structure of your neurology of your brain, and then it's transient, it's temporary. It's only going to last maybe an hour to 24 hours, and then you're going to get recovered, okay? But then if you get a stroke, which a lot of people get a stroke like 24 hours later, and so they don't really, use that as an indicator that that could be a problem. So what I want to talk about is what causes a TIA and what causes a stroke and what can you do about it. Do you want to know? Okay, I think you do. So the first thing you want to realize, you have an embolism. And so in the arteries, you have this little plaque that can build up and then break off and then create an embolism, which is going to clog the artery further down the chain, okay? Now, we've talked about this in other videos, and people are like, oh yeah, that's eating too much cholesterol foods, it's fatty foods, it's going to clog your artery. No, 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 no. The LDL is there to heal this lesion as a Band-Aid, because underneath this little clot, you have like a little hole or damage into that cell wall. So this is a low vitamin C. Vitamin C controls the junction of the proteins. It keeps the cells tight. So when you have vitamin C deficiency, it opens up, then all these things come in to heal it. LDL, cholesterol, calcium, and fibrin, okay, and immune system. So that's what happens with that. And then if it breaks off, it can create an embolism, okay? But vitamin C deficiency could come from high levels of sugar, insulin resistance, diabetes, or lack of eating vegetables, right? So the next one is so you have embolism, you have a clot, a thrombus, and that usually happens in the heart in something called the atrium. It's like a part of your heart that's like a primer pump, and that atrium, the blood pools there, usually because of an atrial fibrillation where the heart is erratic and it's not beating correctly. So the neurology to the heart is not, beating at a certain rhythm, it's erratic, so it's called atrial fib. But if we take it earlier, atrial fib is really a potassium deficiency, or it could be a magnesium deficiency. And that could come from high levels of insulin resistance, because you can't absorb that mineral, or a lack of eating vegetables. So you get this clot. So that's another one. And then you have the third thing, which is an aneurysm, okay? And that's kind of like a balloon. So if you blow up a balloon and you can keep blowing it up, at first it's really hard and then it gets easier and easier and easier until the whole thing just explodes, right? Well, same thing here. Eventually, when this balloon explodes in your artery, you get blood that squirts out and then you have internal bleeding and it's over, okay? So in an aneurysm, you can have a lot of pooling of blood here and you can get a thrombus or embolism right through here because there's a lot of cholesterol that builds up too to try to heal this wall. But usually what you have is a weakened wall because the vitamin C is not there to keep it tight. And then the combination, if you have high blood pressure, that pressure is going to cause a damage to that wall. And that's going to decrease oxygen to the wall of the inside of the artery, and it's going to atrophy. So if you stop circulation to a part of your body, it loses communication. So it's going to atrophy and then start getting bigger. And you can also have, smokers don't have enough oxygen, inflammation from sugar, all that's going to create that. So it starts building up like an aneurysm and then it eventually blows up. So these are three things. And so this, again, the way to make sure it's corrected is to get rid of high blood pressure by increasing potassium, magnesium from the vegetables like we talked about, and to decrease the insulin resistance, which we've been talking about too in all these videos. So you can see that insulin resistance is behind so many problems. Now let's say you had a stroke. What are you going to do now? What if you had a stroke, and how are you going to improve the brain? Is it possible? Because 70% of people that get strokes have permanent damage, okay? So one is vitamin B3. I would take it in a form called niacinamide, okay? And you want to take large dosages, like 250 milligrams, okay? You want to take 250 milligrams of niacinamide, probably 5 to 6 times a day if it's really, really bad. Because niacinamide has the power to literally regenerate nerve tissues and synapses and connect the neurology and actually help improve your nervous system. So that's really cool. Nice set of mind. Number 2, you want to fix the insulin resistance, right? So that's another thing you want to do, because insulin resistance is behind a lot of not just inflammatory states, but when you fix insulin resistance and you add intermittent fasting as part of the program, you basically get a situation where you have improved regenerative nerve cells. You can actually regenerate your nerve cells if you do intermittent fasting and keto, because you're actually fixing the insulin problem. So there's a lot of studies now on using intermittent fasting and keto for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So because it fixes the brain. And the last thing that you want to do is called DHA. This is a healthy type of fat that your brain already contains, and it's there to act as a like an insulator. And if you take DHA in higher amounts, you can actually also repair brain damage. So I'm not convinced that you can't do anything, but I think the most important thing is this insulin resistance, fixing this with intermittent fasting and keto. I just talked to another guy today, and he started intermittent fasting, but he didn't do keto, and he didn't do well. So he really screwed himself over, and then he found my videos and he started adding the healthy foods to it, and he did very, very well because he wanted to get a lean stomach, and I'm going to put that success story up. So again, TIA is a pre-stroke. It can actually give a little, like a warning that you're going to get a stroke. But if it's a TIA, you're going to actually get rid of it in 24 hours or less, and it's going to be like gone, and you're going to be fine because it's temporary. But an actual stroke can leave permanent damage, and it's not that complex. The problem is once you get a stroke, the doctors are going to give you a lot of medication for the rest of your life. So now you're on Coumadin. Now you can't take any green vegetables because they don't want you to take vitamin K. Now you're on blood pressure medication. They don't want you to take anything alternative. And you're pretty much in stuck between a rock and a hard place. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, now the next thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about a real common problem that a lot of people have, and chronic rhomboid. I have to say, these markers, I go through so many markers, and I just found out yesterday that you can screw them open and you can actually put ink in there. So I'm going to start doing that because I'm going to lose ink on there. So when you have chronic rhomboid pain, it's usually on the right side. I'd say 99% of all people that I know have chronic pain on the right side. And the rhomboid is like right back here. It's on right next to your scapula. So let me just draw a little picture of this because this is very common. So you got the spine right here, and then you have this scapula right here. And then you have these muscles that come down on the right side. So many people have trigger points right on that spot, and you might have it too. There's another muscle that goes on the top here. It goes to the third vertebra right here in the neck. That's called the Levator anguli scapula. Not that you need to know that, but this muscle raises this, and sometimes you'll have pain right in that knot, like right here or right here. This problem is not coming from your back or your neck or your scapula. This is referred from another location, and that's coming from the gallbladder. So the gallbladder is on the front side, and if you press underneath your right rib cage, about 2 inches lower, and you hold that for like a minute and you massage it, all this pain will go away. Okay, it kind of like blows people away. They just go, wow, that's amazing. How did that work? Then we know you need to spend more time on the gallbladder because you didn't just correct it, you just gave some temporary relief. But for someone to go get manual therapy and work on the upper back, like myself, for 12 years without any long-lasting relief, it was a waste of time. Okay, so the problem, if it's on the right side, it's usually gallbladder or liver. And so Now the question is, what should you do about the gallbladder and liver? There's some debates on whether you should avoid fats. I find if you add sugar to fats, it's really, really bad. You need some fat, but if you have too much fat, that can like grease or heavy fats, that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to recommend that you just do intermittent fasting and maybe a lighter meal with less fat, but no sugar, and you're going to be fine. So let's go back to the table here. I'm going to find my plug-in. Here we go. All right, good. I'm plugged in. All right, so that was your lesson for today. Hey, Mohammed, you're from Texas. You had a question about keto. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Thank you for taking my call. I started the ketogenic diet and the intermittent fasting after I started watching your videos. It was like, I think, late May or early June, and since then I lost 20 pounds. I'm not a really heavy guy. I was 175. Now I'm down to 155.
Good.
I feel better, or my craving is gone. Like, I don't eat sugar. I don't crave cake, anything like that. But my question is, every day, like I break my fast at noon, but every day around 3 o'clock to like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like fatigue and like I'm tired, and I can't explain it. Because when I watch so many videos about ketogenic diet, I understand that it should give you a lot of energy and your brains become more like lightened. But I still like, I mean, everything worked out. Like, I lost the weight, a lot of things were good, but for some reason I still have this fatigue by the end of the day.
So I have a question. What do you eat for your first meal?
I usually have a big salad with the salmon or chicken.
Okay.
Like about 5 cups of salad.
Good. Do you have any cravings whatsoever right now?
No.
Okay. Are you hungry in the morning at your first meal?
No, I don't feel any hunger until, like, even when I break my fast at noon, I'm not really hungry.
Okay, so try an experiment. Go longer without eating and see how long you can go. Because a lot of people have their first meal at like 3 o'clock. And they just kind of go because here's the point. We want to try to experiment with your body, but we want you like not to eat unless you're hungry. So go until you're hungry and just try that, because if you're eating when you're not hungry, just the fact that you're eating, you will spike insulin a little bit. If there's a big chronic problem with that, you could be still in the phase of just you're still in the healing mode, that you're not quite there. The other thing you have to realize is there's a thing called like keto fatigue. It's either going to be B vitamins, B1 from nutritional yeast, or potassium. So increase one or the other, maybe even salt, sea salt. One of those is going to improve your energy. So why don't you experiment on that and then call me next time and we're going to see if that worked. Okay? Thanks. Hey, Laura, you're from New Jersey. Go ahead. You had a question about gallbladder.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Yes. I'll give you a quick rundown. About 10 or 12 years ago, I had my gallbladder removed. I'm 34 now, so I was pretty young. And I was vitamin D deficient, and I gained quite a bit of weight since, probably like over 100 pounds. And I recently have been working for the last 10 years. I've been trying to get the weight off. Finally, I went on a no sugar diet, basically just no added sugar. So I just had healthy, fruits, vegetables. I'm also gluten-free as well. And I lost about 53 pounds, and I brought down my cholesterol like 60 points because my cholesterol skyrocketed. And I watched your video, and I had pretty much every symptom that you mentioned from the gallbladder issues that you had said, which was kind of like everything I've been saying to every doctor, and you confirmed everything. So it was amazing. But my questions are, I know you said to take bowel support. Do I need an extra vitamin D supplement and a vitamin A supplement? That's my first kind of questions to you. And then in addition to that, you had just talked about like certain pains like the necks and the back and stuff. And I also have a tremor, and I was doing some research on what could help that. And I saw upper cervical care for like, aligning the spine. I know that can overall help with the whole body. Does that affect weight as well? And do you recommend that for people who have like neck, back, and tremor issues?
Okay, good. So let's talk about the tremor first. When I used to do a lot of treatments in my office, we would see great improvements with tremor in all sorts of neurological issues. So it's worth a shot. You can try it out, and they work on, and someone can work on your neck, because all those nerves connect to all your upper body and your lower body. So I would definitely try that out, because if you've never had that done, you could free up a lot of nerve interference. That said, as far as vitamin A and vitamin D, I would highly recommend getting a high quality cod liver oil. There's only like 1 or 2 companies that I know of. I don't have the brand name but offhand, but you want to get virgin cod liver oil. That'll give you the perfect balance of vitamin D and vitamin A, and then you take that right when you take the gallbladder formula together. So now that bile will help absorb that and pull that right in. So many people are deficient in vitamin A. They get the those little goose pimple type things in the back of their arm. They have sinus issues, a lot of skin issues. Their vision's starting to go bad, especially at night. That's vitamin A. And the vitamin D could be bone pain and immune system and calcium. So that's what I would do with that. And also my membership site, and also the acupressure tool. It shows you how to do acupressure to the gallbladder and the pancreas. Definitely want to do that, because that'll kind of just, we massage our muscles and we exercise our muscles, but we don't ever work on the organs. So check it out. Hey, Sherry, you're from North Carolina. Go ahead.
Yes, I was actually calling today about my husband. He's 48. He was diagnosed with diabetes about 11 years ago. Probably about a year ago, he took himself off medication. We did dieting, like low-fat diet, changing things, and it did help with his sugar. Then we seen all your videos, which we love, and we started doing the intermittent fasting with the keto probably about 3 months ago. But his question is, his sugars are still running high. His fasting sugars can still be about 180.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was just wondering what else he could do to help get his sugar under control.
How many meals is he having per day?
2.
Okay. Is he hungry on both of those meals?
No.
Okay. And give me an example of what he eats in a given meal.
Honey, I'll let you do that. He'll do his salad. He'll have a salad with some protein, like some chicken. Like this evening, he had some fish with some vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do any kind of desserts or anything, it'll be like your pecan pie recipes, things like that we do. But
you're from North Carolina, so you have to have pecan pie.
Yeah,
okay.
That's his favorite.
Good. Let me just tell you a couple things I would do. Sherry, one of the things is if he has a fatty liver, if he has a gut, he has a fatty liver, and the fatty liver takes a while before that kicks in. So he might have to do intermittent fasting, 2 meals, and if he's not hungry, just go down to 1 meal. That's going to speed things up. But he has to have minimally 7 cups, hopefully maybe 12, like 2 huge salads, like 5 cups and then 5 cups every single day to start keeping that fat clean. And it's going to eventually come down. There's some things you can do to speed it up. Apple cider vinegar is awesome. You can do it in a pill or drink with the meal, and before bed in some water. That'll be really hot. Chromium picolinate works. The electrolyte powder I have, which is the potassium, that will also help that situation. And of course, anything that I tell you, it's not meant to diagnose you. Check with your doctor before I'm giving you any advice, because I have to make that disclaimer. But there's one last thing. There's a product that I use in these situations, which is it's an insulin and blood sugar support formula. And that has like a lot of different things in there. Goat's rue, which is kind of a herbal metformin, a lot of different things that are designed to help speed up the rejuvenation of that beta cell that produces insulin. So I think he's on the right track. Make those tweaks, and let's see how he does. Okay, Sherry? Good question. So we have Bhavani from North Carolina as well. Are you there?
Berg, this is Bhavani from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using this apple cider vinegar and wheatgrass powder. I'm seeing tremendous results. I know it's too early to publish my results, but soon I'll share my success story. But the reason why I call you is one of my cousin back in India, at the age of 37, 38, she lost her both kidneys, and doctors said those kidneys are gone. She's under dialysis. Just want to take some inputs and suggestions. Is there any way we can help her?
She has no more. She lost the function or the actual kidneys?
Correct.
She has no more kidneys.
So doctor said kidneys are not functioning.
Oh, okay.
She's under dialysis.
Okay. So I had this this doctor who came up from Arkansas, and he was on dialysis, and this doctor was willing to, he had to get permission from the doctor to come up to see me, and we started working with him, and we did a lot of manual work on his kidneys. We did massage with the massage tool, and for 3 days straight. And it was like snow days. I walked through the snow, and he flew up, and we met, and we worked on him through the day for 3 days. He went back. Since that point, he never needed kidney dialysis again. Apparently the kidneys kind of woke up. Of course, we got him off the sugar, and we got him off a lot of other things. If you have kidney problems, you're not supposed to have potassium, but you can still have, regular meals as long as you're not like doing any nutrients that are going to spike it. So I think it's possible. I would go in that direction because the number one thing that kills off the kidney is high sugar. So the keto and intermittent fasting, I think, would be very beneficial for someone on dialysis. And even if you didn't cure it, you can help it or improve it, because that's kind of a devastating condition where it can, people don't live as long. So that's what I would do. Hey, Patrick, you're from Italy. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
First of all, a big thank you. Thanks to your videos, I started a journey to health. It was a bit of a mess. So I'm doing keto and intermittent fasting. I've lost about 20 or so kilos in a couple of months. I'm a big guy. I went from 166 kilos to going towards 140 and looking to continue. One of the things I also discovered, thanks to you, was the whole adrenal situation, which sort of was a real, eye-opener, because I recognized many of the symptoms, the extreme fatigue, the stress, all of that. So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Unfortunately, here in Italy, people don't really understand it. They just think, the doctors just think I'm so crazy, and they were saying, don't do keto, it's really bad for you. But I'm feeling much better. Some of the symptoms still persist. I went for some tests, and what's come up is that my right adrenal is swollen. I still have fairly high blood glucose, like 156. My insulin is still high, 47. Cortisol is high. Testosterone is low, and blood ketones. I bought one of those, blood ketone measures. So I measure my blood sugars and my ketone levels every day, and the ketones are a little bit low. So my question is how do I improve these markers from now? How do I, lower the blood sugar, potentially increase the ketones? Of course, I have high blood pressure and I take medication, but I'm trying to find a way to get rid of that medication. I don't want to be on this medication.
Yeah.
And so, whether through dieting, what are dieting recommendations, supplementation that can help me improve the markers, and officially, am I still adrenal or not? That's
good question.
I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, good. So Patrick, you came all the way over here. Now you're coming over here. You're not quite there. It seems like you lost some great weight in a very short period of time. You're doing great. So well done on that. I think you want to give it more time, but there's always things we can do to improve it. I would recommend really working towards doing less meals. Even if, I don't know if maybe you're doing 2 meals a day, which is great. Maybe even try 1. If that's too hard, then go to 2. But that's where you need to go with this, because that will really bring insulin way down, and that thing can reset, and you can speed things up tremendously. Now, the actual meal itself, go high quality greens, moderate protein, healthy fats. Focus on that. As far as supplements go, I would not recommend my adrenal fatigue formula. I would recommend the adrenal cortisol support, because that is exactly what you need to kind of de-stressitize your adrenal. I would get the massage tool to help actually do work on your adrenals. Every night before I go to bed, I work on the adrenal points, the back points, the neck points. So when I go to bed, man, I am stress-free. I go right into a sleep, and then I don't even need much sleep anymore compared to before. I probably go to bed at like 11, 11:30. I'll wake up at 5:30, and I'm good. I'm ready to go. I may take a little nap, maybe not. But the point is that I think you should do the same with the massage tool. The other thing that I'm going to recommend is that make sure your potassium is high. If you want to supplement, I would do the electrolyte powder. I think that you'll like that a lot. And then go to the store and get some nutritional yeast. Start doing like 2 tablespoons of that stuff every day. Those B vitamins will speed things up. But you're on the right track. It's going to take time, but I think that's the best you can do. So we have Deborah from Woodbridge, right down the street, Virginia.
Hello, Dr. Berg. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Okay, so I have a little bit of a unique situation going on. I'm a former previous gastric bypass patient.
Okay.
And I had that done in 2008. And I pretty much gained about all of my weight back. So I've been doing the keto, intermittent fasting, and the keto diet. And I've been doing that this is my 2nd month doing it. And I've been doing the 24, 20 hours of fasting, 4 hours of feasting.
Wow.
My problem is I don't never get hungry. I have no sugar cravings. When it's time for me to feast, I'm not hungry. But my dilemma is I take a shake. It's a Shakeology, and I add like a lot of good stuff: collagen, sunflower seeds, some butter, Ripple milk. I mean, it's very nutrient dense. Mm-hmm. When I drink that, I'm not hungry for the rest of the night, and I just don't feel like I can meet what I need for my body just taking a shake a night.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I need help with this.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Understand. I see the situation. I want you to also look at the sugar grams from that. As far as I know, I think it's over 6 grams per serving, and that's a little on the high side. I would prefer if you did like 0 sugar grams, because I think they had some tapioca and stuff. That's the only part I don't like. They have a lot of other good stuff in there. So I do think you should take a concentrated green something with no sugar. That's one thing.
I do. I take green first.
Okay, good. So then you got that. Now, as far as food goes, you're going to also need something, amino acids. Maybe like, can you do maybe an egg? I would do an egg.
Sure.
Do an egg. I would do, if you can get either sea kelp, that would be help, because that would be trace minerals that will also give you your selenium and your iodine and all that. And then drink a little apple cider vinegar with the meal, because that's going to actually really help you too, because you have compromised the stomach lining, so you don't have the full capacity. So the 2 things you got to watch out for gastric bypass are protein, amino acids, and trace minerals, because we don't get the full capacity. So we want a trace mineral. Of course, you can do liquid trace minerals. That would be good, or you can do the sea kelp. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, it's probably going to be hard to eat a lot of vegetables, but I would really like you to do a fresh, I don't know, either a salad or maybe even a blended, high-level little kale. It doesn't have to be a lot, but kale, beet leaves, spinach with maybe a little tiny berries. Blend that up and have that each day. That way you have the raw, fresh stuff. You need to start doing more of that. One of the things that people could have when they're low on B vitamins, and that's why I recommend the nutritional yeast, is that their hunger completely goes away. So you probably are living off your own fat, and that's good, but we got to put the nutrients back in your body somehow from actual food in addition to what you're doing. So that's what I'm recommending, but you got to watch the trace minerals and then the amino acids. Hey, Kim, you're from North California. You had a question on, I guess, recurrent cyst in your eyes, right?
Styes.
Oh, styes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Dr.
Hi.
I apologize. I have a call waiting call.
Okay.
So since the last 15 months, I've been having pretty much constant styes, sometimes as many as 5 in one eye and 3 in the other. And it's just, I've taken antibiotics a couple of different times, and that seems to quell them for a short time, and then they kind of act up again, and they leave a hard nodule in my eyelid that eventually goes away. But I don't know what I can't think of anything that changed suddenly 15 months ago. I did have a radical diet change almost 3.5 years ago, but I don't know if it would take that long for it to manifest in something like that.
Like your diet now, are you doing keto intermittent fasting, or are you just doing regular foods?
Well, I'm new to your fairly new to your videos, and I have to admit I don't exactly know what that is.
Okay, cool. So there's a couple things that I would do, because I am familiar with styes, and it can be a pain in the eye, actually. So it's usually viral related, and they tend to get out of remission. What those viruses tend to do is they can come out usually in stress states or when the blood sugars are off. So if you go to my YouTube channel and go under playlist and watch some of the ketogenic diet videos, and also then the intermittent fasting ones, I think that's going to be in a separate playlist. You could go to my website and go under extra button and see like all my videos on keto there and intermittent fasting, but that's going to probably help you more than anything, because that's going to drop the insulin down, and then the viruses can go back in remission, and that works great for styes in the eye. Like things like styes, boils, Baker's cyst, that's all like blood sugar type stuff. And I have done some videos on that. So of course, if you look it up, it says, oh, you need vitamin A and this and that. I've never been successful with giving people vitamin A and having those styes go away. So it's really kind of getting that blood sugar back. So what you need to do is just combine the intermittent fasting with keto, and it's right on my website, and watch those videos. That'll put you in the right direction. And I think it'll go away and stay away. I think you'll send me a success story. Thanks. Hey, Todd, you're from Ohio. Question, you have a question.
Hello, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
I have 2 questions. The first is I'm getting a lot of mixed messages about when to drink apple cider vinegar and lemon juice and the amounts, when you wake up, when you go to bed, before meals.
Right.
If you can clarify that. And the second question is, can you tell us about a little bit about your forthcoming book? I haven't heard anything on your YouTube videos about that.
When it rains, it pours. What's happening now, it's like all of a sudden now, ice cream, we figured that out. The book's coming out. I have another book coming all at the same time. So I'll mention that in a second, but let's just first answer your question. I recommend doing the apple cider vinegar drink. I would do 1 or 2 tablespoons in water with the meals. If you have a blood sugar issue, like let's say you wake up in the morning and your blood sugars are high, then take one before you go to bed. I don't recommend taking it right in the morning. I would take it with the meal. And so you do 1 or 2 tablespoons. And as far as lemon juice goes, I kind of go heavy on the lemon juice, so I'll do like an ounce or 2 of lemon juice every single day. Just put it in there, because that helps really counter the oxalate stones, and it cleans you out. It's a great drink. I'll drink it down. Sometimes I'll put Pellegrino with my electrolyte powder, and it's like a really sweet, amazing drink that goes down nicely, and it's pretty cool. So now, as far as the book goes, I just approved the last proof, like right before I did this. So it's all done. It's awesome. I spent so much time on it. I'm really proud of this book. You're going to love it. It has a lot of new stuff in it from the other edition, a ton of stuff. It took forever to complete this. You will not find one typo at all. I mean, it's actually a perfect book. We've been through it a million times already. But that book is going right to the printers. We will be pulling up a Kindle very, very soon. So you'll have the Kindle out within weeks, if that. But the actual hard book I think it takes 3 to 4 weeks to produce. Now, there's a summary of that book that will come out probably a little sooner, probably in about 2 weeks. It's a summary of the big book. I didn't mean to release it at the same time. It just happens to be done at the same time. But the summary is shorter, it's the highlights, and it has a lot of pictures of the meals. So you can kind of see the meals and see, oh, that's what it looks like. That's how much fat I need. That's how much protein I need. So that's very helpful. It doesn't have all the details, but I'm excited about the book. I'll be doing some videos to kind of talk about it, but I'm really sorry it's taken this long because it was supposed to be out January 1st. I know. Okay, hey Mary, you're from New Jersey. You had a question about hyperthyroidism.
Oh, yes. Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call so
Sure.
late. I have hypercalcemia caused by an adenoma on my parathyroid. And I saw an ENT who said the only way to really cure that is surgery. And I'm going to see an endocrinologist next week to get his opinion. But I was curious if you know if there's some kind of diet regimen I can do that I would not need surgery.
That's a really good question. It's a tough question for me because I don't have enough data on what's going on. But here's what I would recommend. There is a guy, he's very well known. He's done probably the most surgeries of anyone in the United States. I think he's in Florida. He's like, if you just type up parathyroid, you'll see him. That's probably the one you probably talked to already. And it's a pretty high success rate. And people have a good prognosis after that. So it's not a bad idea to have that procedure done by someone that good that's done that many of them. That said, there are a couple things that you can do to improve the situation. Vitamin K2 is an essential thing, vitamin K2. I would recommend that without the D3, okay? K2 by itself, I would take it with a little bit of fat when you have your first meal. Secondly, vitamin A, I would recommend vitamin A. Where are you going to get vitamin A? I would get it from the cod liver oil. That's like one of my favorite sources. And then the other thing is vitamin C foods. Vitamin C foods actually help balance out both of those glands pretty nicely. But I recently did a video on that, and it's sauerkraut and bell peppers. Like those two are my favorite go-to with vitamin C. Honestly, I'm not going to say I have the answer for the miracle cure that's going to dissolve those little mini tumors on your parathyroid. So I would do these other natural things, do all the things I'm recommending, and see what happens. You could, if it's really severe, then that's one thing. But if it's minor, let's say you go back, you do the keto and intermittent fasting, and do the things I recommend, and then you go back over a short period of time and see if it shrank. If it does, good. Go back another 6 weeks. Okay, it shrank more. Or it's getting worse, whatever. Then you can decide what you want to do. But I know the prognosis is pretty good, even by getting the surgery, but you've got to make your choice yourself. Thanks, Mary. And then we have our last caller from Tennessee. It's Tremaine? Is it Tremaine?
Yes, Tremaine.
Tremaine. Okay, hi, Tremaine.
Tremaine.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
I have a quick question. I have a two-part question. I have lymphedema. I've had it since, I think I was born with it. It's on my mom's side of the family since I was 13. And I started intermittent fasting. I've lost some weight. I'm not on the ketogenic diet, not yet, but I just want to know, I know there's no cure for lymphedema, though I have faith that there is, but is there any supplement or some sort of food I can eat that can at least help my lymph nodes or besides just elevating my feet?
Right, yeah, good question. There's several things. One thing is I would definitely start some type of physical activity to get the circulation going. The lymph system is a little different because it doesn't really have a pump to push the fluid like the vascular system. So you're going to have to physically start moving as much as possible. That's one thing. Number two, interesting, vitamin B1 and nutritional yeast, if you're deficient in that, you definitely will have swelling in your lymph more than you should. So start loading up with B1. The other thing is potassium, increasing your potassium, not to the normal 4,700 milligrams, but maybe to 5,000 to 6,000 per day. You can do a combination of a lot of vegetables, and then you can do your electrolyte powder, which has 1,000 milligrams per serving size. The combination will help drive out excess fluid, not just from your lymph, but anything that's being stored. Lastly, you want to consume foods high in sulfur. Sulfur tends to be really important in the lymphatic system and in the liver, which has the greatest lymphatic system in there. And so that would be like all like onion, garlic, cabbage, broccoli, those type of foods. And the other one is dandelion greens. That's really, really, really important. So if you start including those in your diet, I think you would actually see improvements on that. And then you add the exercise, I think that would be good. And then bite the bullet and do the keto. I think you'll be happy if you did that. All right? Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your attention. I'll see you next week. And it might be at a different time, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.